All right, my name is Reverend T, and I am the unrefined priest. I got a great topic today. We are talking about what nobody saw coming. It appears as though Gen Z is embracing the church. We've had Generation X reject the church. We had the millennials reject the church. We had Gen Y reject the church. But there seems to be something in Gen Z that has them looking at the church a little bit more than the previous generations. It's an interesting development. Look, I got a great video for you. This is Tim Pool, and he's actually showing a video of Trevor Noah. And I want to look at both of their ideas. So we're going to start with Trevor Noah, and then we're going to unpack that a little bit, and then we're going to look at what Tim Pool has to say, because I think they're both interesting. Because neither one of these guys are self-proclaimed Christians. I don't think either one is. Tim is more of a moralist, likes the morals of Christianity, but can't quite make that leap to the resurrection. Whereas Trevor Noah, I think he's a little more hostile to the gospel. So to hear him saying this about the church is really fascinating. If at the end of the video you like what we're doing, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. We would love for you to be a part of this community. All right, let me get this going, and I'm just going to play a bit and then I'll jump in.
You know, when I look at what we're experiencing in the world today, there's no denying that church and religion is responsible for a lot of, I mean, you name it and label it, right? Pain, conflict, what, right?
Birth control.
You name it, whatever. But when I look at what people's lives have become, I can't help but wonder how much worse it's going to get when church falls away.
All right. That's an interesting line right there. I find this fascinating. So what he's essentially saying is, over the years, the decades, centuries, you've had this moral compass of Christianity that has, in some sense, kept people on the right path, or on a path that is best for them and for the society that we are a part of. So with that compass, you've had culture that's been able to move forward because we had a good moral grounding. When that grounding is ripped out from underneath the culture because it is attached to Christianity and to the church, and as the church dies and fades off, that moral underpinning comes out as well. And now you no longer have that as well. When that is ripped out and you're just free to live and act however you want to, I'm a little afraid of where we're going to go. That's essentially what he's saying. And he's saying it from the perspective of, we have seen this starting to take place. And we have gone downhill, downhill, downhill. When this fully takes place, what are we going to look like? What is the world that we live in going to look like? And to be honest, obviously, I'm a priest in the Episcopal Church, so I have that same fear, that same understanding. But it's interesting to hear it from somebody who is not a Christian. So he's going to unpack this a little bit. So let me let him talk a little bit further.
So go to any thriving European country. Church is gone now. When I was in the Netherlands, all the churches that used to be churches are
the
now
Airbnbs now.
Yeah, they've just turned into other things.
Really?
Yeah, they've. It's like there's a restaurant or this is a something. It's not a church.
So cathedrals are gone.
No. It's not a church. Churches are dying because I think it's easy for us to dismiss things in general in life. Like we always want to say.
All right, so this is a really good point because if you go over to England and really anywhere in Europe. Like if you're traveling outside of the United States and you're going to Europe, what you're going to see are a lot of buildings that used to be churches. Now they're bars, they're restaurants, they're museums, they're anything but a place of worship. Because those churches died. And with them died the moral underpinning that really held up the Western society. And the slippage that you're seeing as people's morals begin to shift is a direct result of the church dying. And as that takes place in the United States, you're gonna see the same thing. The same thing that took place in Europe 40, 30, 20 years ago is now starting to take place here. Look, I'm from Pittsburgh, and in Pittsburgh, there's a bar, restaurant, brewery called Church Brew Works. And it was a big, giant church. And right where the altar was, that's where they have their brewing tanks. It's absolutely fascinating. I love it. I love going there. But what it represents, in some sense, does kind of get me right here. It does hurt. Because that used to be a place where people gathered to lift up God's name. And now it's nothing bad. It's a restaurant brewery, and they have great food, but it doesn't represent God. It represents really the loss of God or the replacement of God. And that hurts. It doesn't stop me from drinking the beer there because it's really good. And it doesn't stop me from eating the food there because it's really good. I love the place. And I love being in there. It's a fascinating place. But it does hurt a little bit. And when you travel across the United States, you do see bars, restaurants, clubs that used to be churches. So the same thing is taking place here. So the last thing that Trevor Noah says, which I think is really, really important. So let me roll that and I'll talk about a bit.
Good, bad.
Yes.
But to your point, I can't think of a place that is responsible for more community and connection than a church. Because a church, you didn't need money to come to it. As we live in a world where more and more clubs are predetermined, like race, class, all these things, religion was one of the few things where you could opt in. You could walk in off the street and say, I want to be part of your club. And the person would be like, yeah, you're part of the club.
He's right.
That's fascinating. Because as we shift to more of a society that is online and less one-on-one interaction, what you're really seeing is a culture that is completely starved of community. And the church has excelled at offering community. It's one of the things that we pride ourselves on. At Holy Apostles, where I'm the priest, it's a big part of who we are, is this community. It's why we have men's groups and women's groups, and why we meet on Wednesdays, potlucks, because what we're really trying to do is gather up like-minded people in one place where they can share their struggles, their victories, where they can have people pray for them, where they can embrace one another, their failures, their victories. It is this magnificent community. And part of what the internet has done is it has, in some sense, isolated us to where community is not as much a part of our lives. And that absence is something that is drawing people to the church. Now, there's one other part of this video that I want to look at, and this is more of Tim Pool kind of unpacking what is taking place right now in our culture with Gen Z and the church. So let me cue that up, and I'll get that video going right as fast as I can. I am a one-man show. All right.
Can you believe that Trevor Noah, of all people, just said he is concerned about how worse it will get for people if they don't go to church? The data is clear, my friends. More and more stories are emerging that the younger generation is becoming more Christian. It's a good thing. I am, full disclosure, I don't consider myself a Christian. However, I do logically view the Christian moral tradition as the superior moral tradition for this world. I genuinely believe that this moral worldview, what is right, what is wrong, the Ten Commandments, and all of these things lead to better lives, to better futures, to more creation and productivity. And, for whatever reason, I come to my views and my conclusions. It is interesting to see how many people that are young have taken the full leap. It's not just young.
All right. I find this fascinating because Tim is admittedly not a Christian. And where he's grabbing on to Christianity is basically the morals, the moral component of Christianity. And if you took the resurrection out of the picture, I think Tim would 100% be a Christian. But we're not going to do that. We're going to keep that resurrection in there firmly. Because that is, people like the morals, trust me. There is this need for a moral good that people long for. But that's not what's drawing Gen Z into the church. What you're seeing with Gen Z is a heightened interest in the person and work of Jesus Christ. That is what is bringing them in. Yeah, the morals, but the person and work of Jesus Christ. Because they are looking not just for something bigger than themselves, they are looking for something that can free them, that can help them, that offers them grace, mercy, and love. Those things that our culture really doesn't love to offer, that you find at the foot of the cross. And watching this younger generation come into the church and embrace Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior, and the scales that fall from their eyes, that I don't have to do it by myself, that I actually can't fulfill the law, but Jesus Christ did it for me. And the relief that comes from all of the pressure of carrying all of these burdens, watching a generation move into the church and embrace that, I absolutely love. This is the thing that Trevor Noah misses. This is the thing I think Tim Pool misses as well. It's not just the morals of Christianity. It's the person and work of Jesus Christ. And the grace that comes with that. The relief that comes with that. The glory of being able to lay your failures at the feet of Jesus. To be able to say, I'm not enough, but in you, I am enough. That you did for me what I could not do for myself. And it really does take that burden off of the shoulders and reminds us that the world that you and I live in revolves around Jesus Christ. And you and I are a part of that world. I love what's taking place. I love seeing it happen. I love watching eyes open up. And I hope that it continues. My name is Reverend T. I am the unrefined priest. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I will catch you on the next one.
We about to turn it on.